The treasury is leaking by teaspoons. Tiny etheric transfers are slipping through the ledger spool, while exhausted etheric embezzlement overseers stand before the great brass array of financial gauges and call panic professionalism. The binary analytical engine shrieks at every petty irregularity. The clerks answer with swollen memoranda, and the real theft passes between those two species of noise as neatly as a pickpocket through a funeral crowd. This is not an office inconvenience. It is a banking disgrace. It is procedural rot. It is proof that the human fraud desk, for all its cuffs and certifications, cannot distinguish a real pattern from a loud one. And the only serious replacement is a leaf frog. Yes, a leaf frog. Not because we have lapsed into sentiment, but because we have at last become exact. The red-eyed tree frog is nocturnal, adhesive, concealment-minded, and built for long stillness followed by decisive release. Those are not woodland curiosities. They are the very mechanisms missing from the modern fraud floor. Observe Figure 1, a cutaway of the noctilucent ocular expansion chamber widening for dim-hour vigilance, while the toe pads anchor the creature to a near-vertical inspection surface with disgraceful ease. This is not a mascot. It is a compact surveillance apparatus with a better relationship to threshold judgment than any mammal in the department. Its eyes become the only vermilion spark in an olive-dark body and an ash-muted room. Then the case against humanity begins. The obvious rivals must be thrown out at once. The raven, for instance, will be proposed by people who mistake theatrical cleverness for usable discipline. A raven would preen over the evidence, meddle with the apparatus, and become part of the crime scene within minutes. The barn owl looks stronger because it owns the night, but it owns the night as an executioner owns it, by striking the chosen target with certainty. Fraud work is not so clean. The owl is a splendid weapon and a wretched reviewer. Then comes the octopus, nominated by modern idiots whenever they wish to sound imaginative at facilities management expense. Very clever, entirely aquatic, fatally unsuited to a document floor. One cannot flood the bank to flatter a cephalopod. Pin the rival schematics beneath one cobalt tribunal ribbon against dun placards and chalk-white drawings, and the hierarchy becomes mercifully plain. Brilliance is inferior to restraint. Predation is inferior to threshold discipline. And exotic genius is inferior to deployable fitness. Now to the patent defense. The first mechanism is the suspensive threshold rectification engine. Human analysts decay in stillness. Leave them before a suspicion ledger spool for 20 minutes, and they begin to crave visible activity as invalids crave broth. They escalate noise to prove they are awake. They write extra pages to prove they exist. The leaf frog commits no such vanity. It waits without softening. It holds a position without converting patience into self-doubt. Observe Figure 2, a lamellar cutaway of the microscopic capillary action hydraulics gripping the inspection surface while the body remains fixed above a stacked procession of doubtful etheric transfers. The third mechanism is station discipline itself. The frog does not wander from panel to panel in search of emotional stimulation, but remains upon the correct anomaly until repetition hardens into proof. Observe Figure 3, a threshold diagram showing the chamber of stillness, the trigger line, and the abrupt release into action. So let us run the bank night trial. First movement, minor card fraud. The great brass array of financial gauges is alive with nuisance. Merchant cluster here, timing irregularity there. Same cadence, same geography, same little wound opening again and again in the bank's hide. The leaf frog does not chase the loudest alarm. It settles over the recurrence itself and holds until the pattern earns escalation. Because early fraud loss is often not a catastrophe of brilliance, but a catastrophe of delay. Second movement, the trial advances into a benefits fraud deposition in the adjoining chamber, where a suspect arrives expecting another exhausted mammal with a notebook and a weak appetite for silence. Instead, he finds a leaf frog upon a glass perch. The creature says nothing. That is its triumph. The suspect begins to explain, then over-explain. Then volunteer details no competent interrogator had yet requested. By the time he reaches his third unnecessary clarification, the sworn examination has ceased to be an interview and become a self-operated confession pump. The frog, already properly wakeful, tracks the recurrence across the case ledger engine and triggers the relay before the larger withdrawals arrive. What the night proves, in sum, is that the same body built to wait on a leaf has been criminally underutilized by finance. Now the obvious objection. The frog cannot speak. The frog cannot type. A weak mind hears this and concludes the experiment is over. A stronger mind hears it and asks what those functions actually are. Interrogation is not talking. It is pressure. The typist is a hand. So the institution must do what industry always does when nature presents an awkwardly superior design. Build the necessary apparatus around it. Suddenly, the defect becomes the correction. And the whole room understands, too late, that the apparatus has not been built to support the frog. It has been built to demote the humans. We therefore petition the Royal Society of Industrial Employment and Related Embarrassments to approve the immediate appointment of the leaf frog as principal etheric embezzlement overseer. The decree is already plain beneath one red wax seal. The hand may be human, but the judgment is amphibian.